Hey guys, this is Ian with ADV Strong. Welcome back. I wanted to cover in today's video the topic of why strength training is essential for ADV riders. It's really essential for everyone, but since in this context we have it around a motorcycle channel, I wanted to talk a little bit specifically about that. There's kind of two primary reasons that come to mind when I consider this. The first one is perhaps the most obvious, which is the ability to manipulate and lift the motorcycle. To leave aside MX or motocross for a second, which honestly in the final analysis I would say strength training is essential as well. But it becomes most obvious with these big, heavy bikes. You know, we ride these mid-sized adventure bikes. They're 400 to 500 plus pounds, certainly with bags on them, and they're massive. And it's a pretty huge effort to kind of manipulate them around and pick them up, etc., etc. And so we always want to use our best technique. I think that goes without saying in terms of manipulating the motorcycle in motion, as well as picking it up from the ground. But nevertheless, there's just no getting around the fact that it requires a lot of physicality and that they still weigh a massive amount. And so you know, to put it bluntly, if I'm weak, I'm not going to be able to pick this motorcycle up off the ground. It will be also quite challenging to manipulate it or catch or plant or whatever I might be trying to do in the moment. Now, if I'm somewhere in between, if I have a little bit of strength, you know, I may be able to pick it up once or twice, you know, something to that effect. But relative to sort of the you that has been, you know, consistently strength training 2 to 3 times a week for a year, 2 years, 5 years, etc., there's just a night and day difference there, because the you know, just to be just barely strong enough, the implications of that is that it's like a Herculean effort to pick it up a couple times. And because the body is not conditioned in a way that, to be honest, really just, you know, in my mind, there might be, you know, some notable exceptions, but I think generically speaking, strength training is the only way to convey those forces on the body, that condition the body to be able to you know, repetitively lift something so heavy and lessen the impact of doing so. So just to be clear, I'm sure I wasn't clear in that last thought there. You know, if you just have a little bit of requisite strength, you might be able to get away with lifting the motorcycle once or twice. But the force on the body, the effort is so massive that your chances of tweaking yourself or just completely exhausting yourself are much higher than if you strength trained regularly. And once you substantively increase your strength, along the way you will have invariably increased the tenacity and the resilience of your ligaments and your tendons, and you know, you will have gotten stronger, and your muscles likely, you know, also you may have accrued some muscle as well from the hypertrophy effects of your training. And so that's really, you know, there's a distinction to be made there between, you know, well, can I just physically pick it up once as a matter of fact, and, you know, actually I can pick it up 5 times and I can pick it up fairly easily, at least in the case of, like, you know, a flat pickup off the ground, or maybe with no bags on it, or so on and so forth, and then perhaps even with bags as you become stronger. So it's really essential for that reason. The second reason is, I kind of alluded to it before, but is really has to do with resilience in the structure and the forces that inevitably get applied to our structure. When you strength train, when you progressively bear load, you greatly increase the strength of the muscles, which enhances the support to the skeletal frame. It enhances the support to the connective and soft tissues, right? Discs, ligaments, tendons, cartilage, etc. And also the forces, well, you know, the forces that are applied to the body just in something as simply as walking, you know, jumping, running, hiking. Strength training benefits very pedestrian activities like that in the same way, making you able to absorb that force much better and with less wear and tear or injury. But now when we go to the motorcycle, we talk about being resilient when picking up the motorcycle and not bearing so much stress on the body. And certainly when I get, you know, thrown from the motorcycle, or in the instance of come-offs, that resilience goes up fairly dramatically, as well as you substantially increase your strength and you have this repetitive exposure over time to heavy loads borne by the skeleton. The bones get denser, the cartilage and the connective tissue and the ligaments and tendons get more resilient, and the muscles get stronger so that they're capable of absorbing more force. And so this just all translates to more, you know, kind of survivability, if you will, less injury when, you know, getting tossed around on the bike or when getting tossed off the bike. So I hope that gives you a couple things to think about, but really we want this, you know, I'm just trying to help folks get started on this journey of strength, and you really, you know, basically the bottom line is progressive load bearing over time, 2 to 3 times a week in perpetuity for the rest of your life. So it's not a 14-day program, it's not a 28-day program. It's you start now if you haven't done that yet in your life, and you never stop. So hit me up with questions in the comments, and we'll see you on the next video. Okay, take care.